The second season of The White Lotus most certainly has an interesting opening sequence. From the extremely appropriate score that runs underneath it that embodies leisure, mystery, lust, danger, and death, to the 16th century style of art that was designed and altered specifically for this show, each shot that we get that is associated with a performer in the show is supposed to be symbolic of their behaviour, and maybe even their fate that's in store for them. So with that, I thought I'd break down and explain what I believe the main parts of the opening sequence mean. So let's get into it. Here is the White Lotus Season 2 opening title sequence breakdown and explained. Just to let you know, this video will contain spoilers. The first shot that we have in the opening sequence occurred when F. Murray Abraham's name appeared. This would be the character of Bert. In this instance, we can perceive the gentleman that's depicted in the artwork to be Bert, and he's seen to be talking to a female. In the early parts of the show, we saw that Bert would go out of his way on multiple occasions to talk to the women at the hotel, and also be persistent on having Alby bring Porsha along with him, because he always believed that a woman would change up the dynamic of whatever it was that they were doing. It would often make the recipient feel slightly uncomfortable, and Dominic and Alby would often question why he was acting like that. He hasn't done it as much in the more recent episodes, but I feel this is an embodiment of how his character acted early on in the series. Shortly after this, there was a shot of somebody looking around the corner in suspicion of the character as he's talking to somebody. I'm imagining this is symbolic of his wife who had passed away. The fact that she's darkened makes me think that it wouldn't be somebody in the present day, and would also make this representative of how Bert was in his younger days, where he'd cheat on his wife. So I feel this opening shot is telling us that. The next piece of art that we had was of a monkey in a chain, and a woman that looked as though she was being kept in a high tower and was looking sad and upset. The actor's name that appeared here was Jennifer Coolidge. At its core, I think it's representative of Tanya's marriage to Greg. Greg feels trapped in the sense that he'd have nothing without Tanya, and Tanya is also unhappy because she believes that something's going on outside of their marriage. Greg being portrayed as a monkey was an interesting choice. When monkeys are utilized in art, it can often symbolize mischief, which is something that we as the audience currently believe that Greg is up to. It could be that he's cheating, or it could also be that he has something sinister in store for Tanya, but her situation is painted perfectly in this shot. After this, we then had an image of a gentleman playing some kind of instrument to a woman who was sat down and watching, whilst there was a dog standing alongside the gentleman. The name that appeared here was Adam DiMarco, who plays Alby. I don't think the woman is representative of either Porsha or Lucia, but I think it's more a representation of the character traits of Alby. Within the piece of art, the person is trying to impress the woman that's in front of him, something we've seen Alby do to both of the characters in the show. The fact that there's a dog alongside him is something that I think is also key to this shot. A dog being utilized in art is often symbolic of fidelity and faithfulness, which is something that Alby believes in. Wealth, protection, and also unconditional love. These are all traits that Alby wants to offer within the show, so I feel it's more a description of the character at hand. And the fact that the dog is leaning upon the person that he's looking towards, it's showing us that he wants to offer it to them. The next piece of artwork that we saw was of two statues that are babies, and alongside them is the name of the actress who plays Daphne. Daphne's two children are at the center of her world, as we saw in the most recent episode where she showed a photo of them to Harper. With this being alongside her name, I think it represents what she cares about most in this world, and that although she might not be happy with her husband's behavior and the way that he cheats on her, she puts up with it so she can keep a happy family together for the sake of her children. After this, we then had a Sphinx appear on the artwork with the name of the actress who plays Mia in the show. The Sphinx was up high and was looking down over everything, which I think is something that has been key to the character in the show. Mia has sat in Lucia's shadow and has been observant of what's gone on, and she's slowly starting to embody the traits of Lucia. A Sphinx is said to be mysterious and quiet, and when translated into English, it means strangler. Mia has been quiet when compared to her counterpart, so it does make me wonder if the translation has anything to do with her arc. Maybe once Giuseppe returns, she may find herself in a little bit of trouble, as he may believe that what she did to him was deliberate. John Grease was the next name to appear on the following piece of art, and it was of a man and a woman riding on a donkey with the donkey looking towards us. Donkeys are often said to symbolize many things, and one of those things is suffering. It could be representative of how he feels being in a marriage for the 5th time, and it not panning out how he expects. Or it could mean that he's been suffering his whole life with not truly being who he wants to be, and that is gay. Greg may have just been covering it up throughout the entirety of his marriage, and that's why he's gone through so many marriages. There's speculation around him being the cowboy that Quentin was in love with when he was younger, so this could well be the case. Michael Imperioli's inclusions seem to have a relatively main focus in this opening sequence, as one would assume that he's bowing down to the woman that's standing over him. I feel this is his wife back home. We saw that Dominic had essentially ruined his marriage back home due to him cheating on her all throughout their time together. He's been trying to phone her, speak to her, and now plans on trying to save the marriage when he gets back home, but I feel it's going to be too late. Within the artwork, it's almost as if the woman is throwing the chain that's been around her into the ocean, symbolizing the freedom that she now has. The tallest statue of them all appeared next to Theo James's name. He views himself as being the best in terms of wealth, appearance, and he also believes that he should be entitled to anything and everything that he pleases, due to the status that he holds. Hence why his statue is the largest and the most perfect of them all. However, underneath him, there's a dog that's urinating on him. This could mean a couple of different things. Whilst it could be viewed as separate, I feel I would view it as an extension to the statue. A dog peeing on something is a sign of it marking its territory, something that we've seen Theo try to do all throughout the season, wanting to be the top dog and lay claim to anything that he sees. He's even tried to do this with a woman, who it appears as though he can often view as though he has some kind of ownership over, in the sense that he's doing all that he can to be with Harper, despite the fact that she's married to his best friend. Touching her leg, appearing in the apartment way back at the start, all ways of expressing his interest, despite the fact that she might not be interested herself. Aubrey Plaza's inclusion was a great one. With the bird looking down at Cameron's statue, it could either be representative of either Harper or Daphne. It could be Harper looking down at Cameron and Daphne fighting her due to the damage that she's going to cause to her family if she does spend time with him. Or it could be Daphne admiring her husband and Harper going behind her back and tearing her family apart. Harper is soon to be with Cameron in the show, so I feel this is representative of the damage that's coming their way and their individual involvement in the demise of their own arcs. Hayley Lou Richardson, who plays Porsha, had a tired lamb alongside her name. Porsha feels lost in the world and is tired of what her life consists of. She said how she wanted to leave her job and not work for Porsha, who's the person who I believe is alongside the lamb, and painted as a woman in distress. She works her to the bone and is a mental strain on her, and this image depicts that perfectly. Other characters in the show, such as Lucia, were depicted as a cat with a bird in its mouth, symbolizing predator and prey, something that I feel we could potentially see her doing to Alby, if she's not as sincere as what she seems. As the second part of the opening sequence started, we essentially had chaos all erupting in the area that we've seen. We had what one would describe as the hotel on fire and a woman with a dagger in her hand with somebody with a wound in their back. I imagine this is most likely alluding to the death of a male character with the use of a blade, so that's something to look out for, along with intimate moments occurring, which has occurred all throughout the season. The opening sequence depicts all that the show embodies: love, lust, death, mystery, and impending doom for all of those involved. It's extremely unpredictable trying to guess what's going to happen, and even based off of the opening sequence, it doesn't point to several deaths occurring, even though that's what's going to happen. I feel it's more symbolic of the nature of the environment and the personas of the character. So, there you have it. The White Lotus Season 2 opening title sequence breakdown and explained. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button. Or alternatively, you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @brainpilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What do you think the title sequence means? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.